Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 474 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm here with Jaryd Krause, and this guy survived a serious attack while surfing. And it wasn't an attack from a shark or a jellyfish. It was from his own surfboard. So I was on his show the other day, and he had stitches in his face. But I got to tell you, this guy's great. No attack is going to stop him from teaching you how to buy an online business. That's what today's show's about. First time we ever had this topic. Very few people in the world teach this topic, and you have the best one right here. So stay tuned. All right. Hope you didn't miss episode 473. That was Emily Harmon, 38 years in the Navy. She shook hands with Ronald Reagan. She retired and kind of totally lost herself. And through quality life coaching, I said quality life coaching because there's a lot of schmucks out there that are life coaches. She worked through the death of her husband, the alcoholism of her son, the anxiety problems of her daughter, and now she's helping people crush their internal saboteurs, she calls them, to live the greatest personal and business life possible. So that was episode 473. And to get to a back episode, you just go to screwthecommute.com and then /, and then the episode number 473. And I know you're going to want to listen to this one over again because this is a whole new thing that I don't teach, and you want to really pay attention. This is 474. All right, how'd you like me to send you big checks? Well, if you're in my affiliate or referral program, I can send you money anywhere from $8.50, which you can blow at Starbucks, to over $5,000 just for one referral. If you're interested in that, email me at tom@screwthecommute.com and we'll give you details. And while you're at it, I'm going to just say you're welcome right now because I've got a free gift for you. My automation ebook. This book has helped me handle up to 150,000 subscribers and 65,000 customers without pulling my hair out. So grab your copy. We sell this for $27, but it's yours free for listening to the show at screwthecommute.com/automate free. Screwthecommute.com/automate free. And while you're over there, pick up a copy of our podcast app at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP, where you can put us on your cell phone and tablet. It does all kinds of cool things, and we have video training to show you how to use the darn thing. All right. I usually tell you about my school now, but there's some much bigger thing going on with my school, and it has to do with the program we're doing to give scholarships to people with physical disabilities. And my school is perfect for that. It's the only licensed, dedicated internet marketing school in the country, certified to operate by SHEV, the State Council on Higher Education in Virginia. But you don't have to be in Virginia. It can be anywhere you want because it's good quality distance learning. And this is perfect for people with disability problems because they can not only learn a highly in-demand skill from home, but they can legitimately work from home. So I started a crowdfunding campaign to put 5 people through the school, and we're going to hire folks with disabilities to help run the program. And it's just one of the greatest things I've done. I've raised a lot of money for a lot of things, but I'm really trying to change people's lives here, and I need your help. So please go to my school site at imtcva.org/disabilities. Of course, all this stuff will be in the show notes, and all Jaryd's great stuff will be there too. And then click on the crowdfunding campaign. You'll see some of the people already in the school making great progress. And please, whatever you can do to help out, we appreciate. And if you're really flush with cash, you can sponsor a person yourself. How about that? And then share the darn thing. We've had over, I think, 1,000 shares since we started. And so that really, really helps. All right, let's bring on the main event. Jaryd Krause, he used to be a plumber. And he was working 60 plus hours a week, and he hated it. And fast forward to today, and he now owns multiple online businesses himself. And many of his clients earn thousands to tens of thousands of dollars per month from their businesses they bought working with Jaryd. His Buying Online Businesses podcast is rated in the top 3 best passive income podcasts online. Jaryd, are you ready to screw the
I am.
commute? All right. You've been doing it for a long time too, since you finally, I don't know if a pipe hit you in the head or how you decided, hey, this is not the life for me, 60 hours a week when I should be surfing. So tell everybody what you're doing now, and then we'll take you back and see how you got out of the plumbing job and got into the online business.
Yeah, sure. What I do now is I help facilitate people who want to actually screw the commute, to be honest, get out of the rat race, get out of the 9 to 5, and help them buy an established website business that has a proven track record of making money each month. Kind of like when you go away and buy a property, a digital property, you go to the real estate broker to check, what properties are out there available for sale. It's the same when you go away and buy an online business. You go to website brokers and you can go through and see how much these businesses are for sale, how much they're making per month, and how much work is required to run these before you even start to do research and due diligence in possibly buying one. So it's a pretty cool concept. We've helped a lot of people replace their income and buy businesses. And when they do so, they can choose to stay on and, help me, allow me to help them grow.
Yeah, and I've got a lot of questions prepared for you. Like I said, we've never done this topic before. When you talk about real estate, physical real estate, there's a lot of what they call, I forget what they call them, when you can check all the other houses in the neighborhood to see how much they sold for and then kind of compare them. How do you what's the valuation methods for an online business?
It's a great question. Yeah, I'm actually do a little bit of property investing myself and done some research and some study in it. They call it a CMA, comparable market analysis, and that's what we do to value online businesses as well when we're going to sell them. That's what all the brokers do compared to the listings and businesses that they've sold. But the valuations of online businesses differ between different business models. So there's sort of 3 main business models that I kind of explain and teach to people so they can understand them. And then within those 3 different business models are different valuations. So content websites usually at the moment, and all of these valuations are going up, by the way. A lot of people are getting into this space because you can buy a proven income stream. So it's pretty attractive. So these are, since I've been in the game, I think 8 years, I've seen the growth of the industry. And, the valuation can be anywhere from 2 to 3 years of annual net profit to 4, 5, and 6 years, sometimes even higher. In the online business space, usually businesses under $1 million, they're talking about a monthly multiple. So valuing the business based off an average net profit of, say, the last 12 months or sometimes even 6 months. And they'll times that by a monthly multiple. In the businesses usually above around $1 million, they are valuing based off the annual multiple.
Besides those number crunching things, it seems to me you have to kind of look at trends. Is the market going up for that particular kind of business or going down? I know for a while, and also you have fads. Like for a while up here in the States, they had scrapbooking was just going crazy. People were even opening up stores for scrapbooking. I couldn't believe it. But then boom, gone after a year or so. So I guess you have to look past the current stuff to what's going to be in the future.
Certainly. I like to call them evergreen niches. Some people like scrapbooking is a perfect one. Also people that are selling, apparel like onesies and things that are in fashion for a short amount of time. It's I don't like to get into business, or I don't like to do anything with a short-term mindset or a short-term aspect.
Or anything seasonal or anything, because
yeah, exactly. It's just, why would you put so much effort and time into something that's going to be for the short term? You may as well do it for something that's a long term. And in business, when you do it for the long term, you're actually going to have a better business and you're going to be able to provide a better solution to people's problems.
Yeah. Now I got 3 questions along the same lines. and this is on how to verify stuff, because I have a TV show in Hollywood in development called Scam Brigade. I also had a practical joke company. For 6 years, we did 1,000 custom designed practical jokes. So I'm very in tune with how to trick people. All right. So what I want to know is how do you verify the quality of their email list? How do you verify their income? And how do you verify their traffic?
Great questions. Let's start with them in the order that you asked.
Okay.
Email. So first thing with the email is the way I like to get verification to anything is getting viewers access to their accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So for the ESP, email software provider, you should be able to get viewers access or limited access to go in and check out their email list. If I was the seller of the business, I would ensure that I would have had you as a possible buyer sign an NDA,
Mm-hmm.
non-disclosure agreement,
Yep.
and a non-compete agreement, and I wouldn't allow you access to download the email list into a CSV. But what I would do is I'd try and give you access to view my email database, to go away and see how many active subscribers there are, check out the open rates, check out the click-through rates, check out all that sort of stuff. Now, if I could not do this with you as a buyer, what I would do is I would do a video screen share with you of me logging into the account and showing you personally. Now it's easy online for people to butcher things and give you falsified
Mm-hmm.
information. And this can be easily done with screenshots that can be edited and adapted. And in the next sort of instance, I'll share with you another way that people will falsify information. So that's how I would verify the email list and the quality of it.
See, I think I would make them do a promotion right in front of me and watch the orders coming in. That would really be, that would be a way. And
that would be a great way to see real proof, for sure. And it would also be great for them because, I think about both sides of the relationship here. The most valuable thing in buying a business, in my opinion, usually ends up being the relationship if you know how to harness it well. But I think about both sides, because if you do ask them to do an email promotion, whilst they still own the business, they're going to make that money.
Mm-hmm.
They're also going to be able to show you data. So they get a win and you get a win as well. So we got to think about both parties here. And I think that's a great and a smart idea, Tom, for sure.
Yeah. Like I said, I really know about, now the next topic is income, but I was one of the first online to ever show income figures and real. And I had, when I have people at my retreat center, they'd actually see my bank statements going back years and hundreds of thousands of dollars a month coming in. But then it kind of got bastardized because people would Photoshop some PayPal thing. And then, but a more insidious one, Jaryd, is when they actually, the figures are real, but they're disingenuous. So they might say, we sold $200,000 in the first 2 weeks with this. Well, they're not telling you that 100,000 of that went to affiliate commissions, another 100,000 went to ads, and they either broke even or lost money, and they're going to make it up by selling it to you because you're a sucker.
Exactly. Or they sold X amount of revenue worth, but a big portion were refunds because the product was no good.
Another thing, yeah. So
I've seen thousands and thousands of businesses, Tom. There's a lot of people in my community, and I verify. I don't do the personal verification myself, but I do reviews of their due diligence before they even put an offer on a deal. And
these are for your students, you mean? These are for your students.
Yeah, for my students, exactly. And so I've looked at a lot of businesses, and there's been a fair few that e-commerce businesses that just don't have great products, and they look like they're doing really, really well. And I press my students to go dig deeper and get access, viewers access to their Shopify account or their back end of their store to really go away and see, what the return rates are. And
another thing I would do is see how long they've had their merchant account, because if they get too many returns and chargebacks, they're going to have to be scrambling to get new merchant accounts all the time, and they have a very short run there. I mean, I've had mine for over 40 years. so, so it's hard to dispute that I don't get chargebacks, I don't get refunds, all that stuff. So, but
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
because I want people to think about this idea of yours, but I want them to be extremely careful. And somebody like you watching over them is probably a good idea.
Oh, of course. I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to be me, but you need to have somebody in your corner.
No, it has to be you, Jaryd. It has to be you.
Okay.
That's the rule here. So how about traffic? Do you use Alexa or what? How do you there's other metric places too, but how do you verify traffic?
Yeah, before we get to traffic, I would say with the finances, what's quite common, I'll kind of want to share this with the audience
Mm-hmm.
that some businesses, especially under the $1 million range, will give you an Excel sheet with a bunch of figures in it. That's not real verification.
Right.
You do need to get viewers. You do need to get viewers access to their business's merchant account or get access to their bank statements and have them actually, if you can't do this, get a screen share. They can't butcher that when you see them log in and do that. A video, sometimes some people are accepting videos recorded from the seller, but those can be edited and changed too. So definitely try and do it with them live or get access to things.
You try to get them tax returns?
Yeah, it depends on the size of the business and stuff like that. Usually the smaller businesses, people don't go into the verification as hard. We sometimes have people buying business for $5,000-$10,000 here. It's still important to check that it's making money for sure. But it's becomes, if you're going to go away and buy a business over $1 million, you do want to have an accountant check the finances and do all that sort of stuff. It's better to have a professional do it for a decent sized business. So for the verification of the traffic, you can get viewers access of the back end of the site to see how they're tracking traffic. And I would most importantly say get access to Google Analytics. Most websites have Google Analytics. If they don't, they're going to have to be tracking their data and their traffic some way, but you need to get viewers access to check that out yourself to verify it. Then you can see where the traffic's coming from and what's the demographic and all that sort of stuff.
But did you say that you do use Alexa in there at all?
I have the Alexa toolbar extension in Chrome to sort of check some things there, but we don't really use it that much. It's kind of just to see where that is compared to other businesses and other websites. That is a part of my course and my membership that I teach, but I usually just tell people to go away and just use Google Analytics. They are the closest or the best reporting data. Most of these other tools and softwares are based off, API of Google Analytics. So Google Analytics usually is the best and the most accurate to check.
It would seem to me that it would be hard to get hard financing for this kind of stuff. Do many of the owners take back the financing?
Yeah, there's definitely seller financing where for people that aren't familiar with seller financing is you can purchase something and the seller will allow you to pay the repayments back over a period of time with interest. We also have seller earnout, which is the exact same thing, but without having to pay interest. I'd prefer to go for that first. And it really depends on how motivated the seller is and what their goals are out of selling the business. Sometimes the seller does want to get cash up front. And sometimes they're like, look, this is you're a great operator. I can see that you really want to run the business quite well. I'm happy to keep skin in the game. I don't need all the cash right away. And they could get a higher amount for the business. They could sell the business for more if they're open to doing a seller earnout or seller financing.
Right. And some will be in a position they don't want all the cash because of in the U.S.
Tax.
It's called capital gains. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of seller motivation, what are you seeing as some of the biggest reasons that people are selling?
Overall, the most important, I wouldn't say the most important, but the most prominent reason people are selling is because they just want the cash to go away and invest into something else. That said, people's skeptical minds will go, well, hang on, are they just selling a crappy lemon?
Right. Yeah.
And that's why we really need to do our due diligence. And there are people out there that are selling businesses that it would be like you catching a falling knife. So I recommend not to buy these businesses because it takes a lot of energy and resources to reverse the trend of something that's declining.
Right.
Even if you just look at the physical nature of things that are going down and trying to reverse that, there's a lot more effort goes into it. So the same with business, unless, of course, that particular person purchasing that business has had experience reversing it and has the resources to do so, then they can really buy a great opportunity.
Yeah, get a bargain. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you can invest based off opportunity, but for the first time buyers, I suggest they based off minimal risk. Warren Buffett has a really good quote, and I just did a case study yesterday with a client of mine who just bought a business for around 200 grand. And he said, I could have spent a little bit less I was thinking about spending a little bit less on my first business, but this business was too good not to buy. And I said to him, Warren Buffett has a really good quote that summarizes that, which is, it's better to buy a good business at a fair price than a fair business at a good price.
Yeah.
So I think it's really worth us, especially for our first business, until at least we get skills and some experience in buying and running a business, to buy something that has the minimal amount of risk.
So I'm sure some of these businesses have staff either in-house or virtual. What's your opinion on keeping staff or starting fresh?
I think keeping staff is a seriously valuable asset to the business. Obviously, it's going to depend on the culture of the staff and the business. But as a general statement, I believe keeping staff is a really good way to go.
Are a lot of these places have actual employees, or they're contractors?
Both. So some will have virtual assistants, which will be on a payroll. It depends on the size of the business. A lot of the smaller ones will just have virtual assistants and contractors. The larger businesses will have, full-time employees. I think it's great to have even if it's a virtual assistant working with you, they'll teach you most things about the business if you're the new business owner, and teach you a lot about how to run and operate the business and how things are done. And I did this with one of my businesses where I brought the staff along with me, and I learned so much from them, and I just cherry picked what I liked about what they were doing. And then I changed things to not make the business better, but make their job better, make them enjoy it better, which in turn make the business better.
Now, how many do you have, and do you typically sell them also? Or do you just only buy for yourself?
No, I sell. At the moment, I have 3 businesses, and 4, including this business that I'm talking about now, and buying online businesses. And yeah, I'll sell every now and then. At the moment, I'm more in a trajectory of wanting to purchase more, because it's a really good space, and I'm building a team that I want to help to use to run other people's businesses, so people can buy them and have an operator put in place, or kind of build out a bit of a fund.
Now, earlier you mentioned the word broker. So the question on a lot of people's minds would be, where do you find these places? I mean, you have places like Flippa, which we've all heard about forever, but I never heard of anybody getting serious about a site like that. But there's Website Broker, there's Free Market, there's Biz Buy Sell. So is there any favorites or safe places to go that vet the businesses, or is that the broker's job?
You mean, do the brokers vet the businesses?
Yeah, like if you go to a broker, I mean, like if you go to Hollywood and get a manager, there's some great managers and there's some total ripoffs. So what's it like in this world?
So there's definitely some shady characters in any of the online business space or making money online space. There's some shady characters. Flippa, I actually know the CEO of Flippa. He's new. He's been in the role for a couple of years now. but he's come in and changed a lot of things and helping Flipper to be a more friendly marketplace.
Yeah, it's been around a long time, but it's never had any
yeah.
great reputation.
No, and he's starting to build a better reputation, which I really do like. And we've had a few people, in our community purchase from Flipper. I've bought websites from Flipper. It is tough as a first timer to decipher a decent business versus a non-decent business and prevent getting taken advantage of, especially if you don't know how to do due diligence and you don't have somebody helping you. But Flipper is becoming better. I would say that there are brokers out there that, because Flipper it can only sort of allow the seller to sort of vet their business a little bit before they list it. But there are definitely brokers out there that understand that they want to keep a good brand for the long term and build a great businesses. So they do actually vet their businesses before listing them. Two of which I know quite well that I've purchased from, and a lot of my clients have purchased from, and they've actually sponsored many of my events and stuff like that, is empireflippers.com and feinternational.com.
Yeah,
and
FE,
these guys, yeah, you would have heard of FE. Yeah, they vet their businesses quite well because they want to keep a good brand, and they don't want to sell dud businesses and it come back on them.
What was the Empire one?
Empireflippers.com.
Flippers. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. They used to be AdSense Flippers. Now they're Empire Flippers, and they got a quite a substantial team built. I think both of these businesses have been listed in the Inc. 5,000 companies.
Wow. Yeah. Now,
yeah.
In the early days, I was on your show. I've been around forever. I bought stuff off of eBay. Even I always warn people when I taught them about that was, a lot of the sites had been banned from black hat crap that the black hat SEO people were doing. And so they'd sell it to you and you'd think this great domain name, but it's totally banned everywhere.
Yeah.
And
it's funny. People will find businesses for sale anywhere. I mean, you'd probably be able to find them on Facebook Marketplace. I mean, Craigslist. I've had people message me from all different places say, hey, I've got a business that I found on not Craigslist, but in Australia, there's a sort of similar service called Gumtree.
Okay.
That they, it's like Facebook buy and swap and sell and stuff like that. Facebook Marketplace, basically. But yeah, people have said, look at this business I found on eBay. Look at this business I found on Craigslist and Gumtree. And I'm like, look, if it was a great business and they wanted to get great money, they're probably going to sell it through a reputable broker.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, do you use an escrow service for the transfer of these sites and businesses?
Yeah, of course. If you're doing a private deal, off-market deal, definitely using an escrow service is fundamental. Even if you're not purchasing it from a broker, you use an escrow service. However, the broker acts as the escrow. So what happens is
you better trust them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they are very trustworthy. I mean, I've built a bit of a brand and in this space and a bit of a name, and a lot of my clients and I trust the brokers.
Right.
And if anything was to sort of go sour, we have a little bit of leverage at least, which has happened, with some things, some migrations of businesses didn't happen as quickly and swiftly as we'd like. And just a quick message to, one of the top guys there, and that sort of problem goes away very, very quickly.
Well,
but
from the scam world, from the anti-scam world, you got to be extremely careful when somebody suggests an escrow service to use, because it could be a total fake shell that looks legit, like escrow.com, and then you send the money and they take it and leave. And that's it.
Yes, for sure. You definitely need to be very careful. Escrow.com has been around a long time, and I trust in them and I believe in them.
Yeah,
and,
but people fake and make a fake site that almost kind of looks like it, and with just a domain name a little bit off, and then boom, you're dead.
Yeah, don't go use escrow.co.
Right. So So we got to take a brief sponsor break. When we come back, we'll ask you, how do you, what's a typical day look like running multiple online businesses? I have one that keeps me busy. So it's interesting to me. I came from blue collar. I don't really have like an executive mindset where I have a bunch of people under me running different things. It's probably kept me smaller than I should be. But anyway, we'll check back with you and see how you handle those situations. So
Looking forward to answering.
yeah, and folks, I usually tell you about my mentor program now, but I'm really, really excited about this program to help people. I mean, I've raised enormous amounts of money for animals and feeding little kids and all kinds of stuff. But it was almost, as I look back, I'm proud that I did it, but it's kind of like Band-Aids. What happens after a year that I fed, I think it was 500 kids in Las Vegas, homeless children. What happens after that year? In this case, I'm going to change these people's lives forever. And that's what I'm really excited about and want your help with. You could be part of it. I kind of look like, or kind of equate it to you contributing and your name's up on the side of a new library or a park bench or something at a park, that you're really doing something that's going to be lasting for a long time. So just visit the site, my school site, imtcva.org/disabilities, and click on the GoFundMe campaign. And you'll see some of the people in the program. You'll see the latest update where everybody gets my latest book that just was done Sunday on crowdfunding. And then we're having a big contest coming pretty soon. I have a lot of interesting things coming to keep the money flowing to finance the program. So that's the story, and I'm sticking to it. So let's get back to the main event. We got Jaryd Krause here. He's the first time out of 474 episodes we've had this topic on. So I'm really happy that he could take the time to get with us. So Jaryd, how do you manage running 3-4 virtual businesses?
Great question. Team. So, like one of the businesses that I mentioned before, I bought it and they had team, and they run that for me. Two of the other businesses I have are content businesses. So they're basically blog sites, and every now and then I will just get some people to, put some content together for those blogs and batch up a bunch of content, get it scheduled, and it can continuously produce content. And then I can have an SEO come in as a consultant to do some of the work and get a VA to work on that SEO work, all those tasks that we are given. So
who handles all the
simpler
money?
than it sounds.
Who handles all the money? See, even in my organization, nobody actually has control of the money except me. And we have a bookkeeper, but still, she's only got limited access to stuff. So from these multiple businesses, does all the money come into you?
Exactly. It goes into one company, and then the bookkeeper does their magic.
So how do you manage?
There's different merchant. So there's different merchant accounts for each business.
Okay, that's good.
And different PayPal accounts for each business. So the content businesses will make revenue through ads, okay, and that'll get sent into either a PayPal account or a merchant account, like a bank account, sorry. And then the e-com business, that'll get paid into a merchant account, which is an Aussie merchant account or a PayPal address, and that all funnels to one bank account.
Are these any physical products involved in any of these businesses?
Yes.
And so that fulfillment is involved there.
Correct. So the e-commerce business it's like a tailored made product, right? The garments. And I built a system.
When you say tailor-made, do you mean custom garments?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, correct. So I built a system that it used to be very manual. In fact, when I first bought it, somebody would order through email, and their order would be changed into a different language to send to the tailors in a different country to create the garment. That was all done by a human. Now I've created a system where people, log in and they'll design their own garment on the site. They will then order that, pay for it. The money goes to the bank account, and then the order is sent to the tailor in the other country in his language that he understands. And then he creates that, produces it, and sends it out to the customer for
All
us.
right. So is this non-refundable? Because these are custom garments.
We have a money back guarantee. If it doesn't suit or it doesn't fit, then you can send it back for free alterations, or we'll make you a new one.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Boy, I wouldn't touch that with a 100-foot pole.
It actually works quite well, to be honest. Yeah.
I believe you, but oh man. So yeah, so boy, it sounds like you really got the brain for this. Multiple businesses going. That's really great. So how do people learn how to do this from you? What is your mechanism? Do you have an online course, a coaching program? What is it? How's it work?
Yeah. So I have a membership, which is a community. So people pay per month, or they can pay annually to join our community.
Mm-hmm.
And what's actually involved in there is there's a number of courses. There's a buying online businesses course. So it teaches them how to buy a business. And then there's a growing online business course once they've purchased a business. In between that, you get support from myself. You also get support from our big community. So we have a community group where people ask questions. We do monthly trainings, and we do campfires, like virtual events and all that sort of stuff. So it's a fun place to be. And that's the biggest value that people get is being in a place where there's other people actually getting results and doing the same thing that they want to do, that can lend support to one another.
And then you have a podcast. I was just on the other day. It's not run yet, but I was quite surprised as we talked, because it wasn't the normal shtick that I usually do. It was more mindset and ethics and things like that. Tell them about your podcast.
Yeah, my podcast is the Buying Online Businesses podcast, and I don't do the normal what's your story, what's your hero's journey. I get straight to the juice. I get straight to the good stuff that people actually want to hear. And I interview people that have bought businesses that are working with us, people that have bought businesses that haven't worked with us, that have sort of gone away and done this themselves, or they already have some cash and they've bought businesses. And then I talk to people like yourself, Tom, that have a lot of business experience in either one area or the other. You've got a lot in many areas, so we stuck to just mindset for yours. But some people are really good at SEO. Some people are really good at digital marketing. Some people are really good at user experience on site, and all these different variations of how you can operate a business. So the podcast is really about teaching people how to buy a business, but also how to run it successfully and grow it.
Tell us about, was it a copper pipe or a steel pipe that hit you in the head when you were a plumber and you said, I got to get out of here?
We used to work with stormwater pipes. They were big black stormwater pipes that we would weld together, actually.
You actually did welding too?
Yeah, it was plastic welding.
Oh, okay.
So it was different form of welding. And I was plumbing. I was sort of in the industry for quite a few years and worked my way up to a point that I became the supervisor of this company, and it was just
worked
stressful.
Yourself up to the point where you hated it.
Exactly. I worked myself up to a point where I was overworked, underpaid, and had more stress than I needed. So what I did was I realized I didn't like it, so I quit, and I'd go traveling, and I'd come back and be like, I can't believe I'm doing this again. So on one of my trips, I was like, I've got to work out how I can make an income on the internet.
And a lot of these were surfing trips, right?
Correct.
You're like a surf nut. All right, great.
I'm obsessed with surfing. Yeah. I surf as much as I can, almost every day.
Wow.
Yeah. So I built this lifestyle out of the desire to have a good lifestyle, not to be a gasquillionaire.
All right. But did you save up money, or did you just quit one day cold turkey, or what?
Yeah. What I did is I would save up money from plumbing, and then I'd go spend that money on a trip, come home with a little bit of money, not totally broke. And then I'd save up again, go traveling. And then what I did is on one of my trips was like, all right, let's get this online business thing happening. And I started a few startups. Now, the startups are really, really hard, right? Like 90% of all startups fail. And so I was just failing and hating it. And I came across that stat that 90% of startups fail. So I realized, like, well, maybe I'll buy one of these things instead of actually starting one. And I had saved up some money from plumbing that I had in the stock market. And I went out and I bought my first website business for $15,000. And it went well. And so I bought another one, and I was still working at the time. I was still plumbing, to answer your question. I didn't just go cold turkey.
Okay, right.
And I think that's very, very important, because even yesterday when I was speaking to this guy who just bought his first business, he quit, he left his job about 7 months ago. And he found himself quite stressed and trying to make a decision to buy a business as soon as possible because he wasn't making an income. And I think it's not the smartest idea to just quit cold turkey and then try and make something work, because what happens if we make emotional decisions that are fueled by stress that usually aren't the best decisions. So that's why I recommend people to buy a business whilst they're still working, and build that online income to surpass what you would be making at your full-time job, which is what I did over time. I bought two, and then eventually from those two, I built them up to a point that they were earning more than my plumbing job. And then I was able to quit and do more surfing trips and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. My job is to make it too expensive for you to go to work anymore. Because you can make more doing your own stuff. So
and less stressful, right? I think what the biggest thing that people don't account for we could say in business, but in life is stress. And I think that that's how we die. Eventually we perish because our body is stressed and it's old. And I think the least stress that we put on ourselves, the better. And if you can do this transition, even starting a business whilst you're still working, it's just a far more funner experience. Even though it is hard, it's a better experience than doing it without an income stream.
Well, the only thing I would dispute there is you don't want the least stress possible, because that means you're dead.
True. That's a good point. The stress was inbuilt on for a reason. So I think you also know what I mean.
So
minimal stress. Yeah.
So tell everybody how they get a hold of you, how they find all this stuff.
Buyingonlinebusinesses.com. Just go to my site, buyingonlinebusinesses.com, and you can check out my podcast, check out the community, check out all that sort of stuff. But guys, if you got questions, or you just want to say hello and have a chat, just message me, or just email me, at Jaryd@buyingonlinebusinesses.com.
And it's Jaryd, which is not a spelling we see up here that often. So
sorry, it's an odd one.
Jaryd at buyingonlinebusinesses.com.
Yeah. And I answer all of my emails myself personally, guys. So you won't be getting a VA or anything like that. You'll be hearing from me.
Beautiful. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to come on, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Very informative.
Thank you.
So everybody, check out Jaryd's buyingonlinebusinesses.com. Check out the podcast and email them if you have any questions. And the membership site is reasonably priced, and there's a lot of like-minded people in there that I bet they bounce all kinds of ideas off each other, and it's probably a wonderful group. And when I was on Jaryd's podcast, we talked about who we let into our programs, like my mentor program and his, and he won't let anybody in if they're not the right mindset, because you don't need any, one bad apple spoiling the bunch kind of thing. So if you have the mindset that you want to do something big with your life and your family, and like I'm trying to do with these disabled people, it might be a good place to be.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate being on here, and thank you for the kind words. It's honestly, Tom, it's been a privilege to talk to you with a man of your stature and so much business experience. I really enjoyed our talk when you came on my podcast, and this one too. So thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Can't wait till that goes live so I can tell everybody about it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll catch y'all on the next episode.